His peanut work intrigued people, and so became the main feature of his public persona. Sometimes his message of planting soil-building crops got lost in all the attention he received on that one phase of his work. And there were other factors working against the world hearing his message.
It's ultimately the political economy of the South that causes Carver's campaign to fail. And this is because no matter how good his ideas were, and his ideas were very good, they were very ecologically sound, and they could make a difference. And I would argue that in some ways they did make a difference. So there are maybe 150 or so black farmers mowing their own land in Macon County in 1896 when Carver shows up. There are more than 500 by World War I, which is basically when Carver's campaign, at least as a protracted effort, comes to a close. Now that's not all due to Carver's work, but Carver's campaign contributed to this growth. But ultimately, the deeply entrenched racism of the Jim Crow South meant that Carver's plan had little hope of working in the long term.
To African Americans, Carver had become living proof of a black man who had overcome great difficulty and achieved greatness.
I have experienced a lot of discrimination that he experienced, and I admired him because of the obstacles with which he was confronted. And he did all this with grace, with determination, with courage, never bitterness. So he was a great model for me to try to exemplify.
He was trying to bring this whole group of people up from nothing.
To many Southern whites, Carver showed the brilliance and heart that wordlessly challenged the system of sharp segregation. To those working for racial harmony, he exemplified their ideal. Carver subscribed to Booker T. Washington's views, which held that blacks should attain an economic foothold before trying to tear down social and political barriers. They had their critics. African-American scholar W.E.B. Du Bois, the first black person to earn a Ph.D. from Harvard University, condemned what he described as their unwillingness to challenge white racism.
I think it is very complicated. Both men were born into slavery. Du Bois was not. And I think they simply tried to do the best they could with the understanding that they had at the time. Carver has been criticized for being an accommodationist. One historian, Lewis Harlan, in a book about Booker T, described Carver as, quote, out-bookering Booker. I think that's unfair to both men. I think that Carver struggled with this all of his life. And we're still struggling with it today.
I think Carver's, if you want to call it such, revolutionary disposition was creativity, was discovery, not activism in the social political context. Could he have done more in that regard? Yes, but I think he was made differently.